Today we're going to go ahead and review some of the properties that we've already discussed, talk about how to solve equations, and writing and solving multi-step equations. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to remember some of our more important properties that we took note of before. We have the reflexive property. Well, basically that says x equals x. We have the symmetric property. And that says if x equals y, then y equals x. And finally, we have the transitive property. And the transitive property basically says if 1 plus 2 equals 3, then 3 equals 1 plus 2. And that property kind of helps us out when we're solving the first equation here in our notes. This first equation says negative 12 equals 2/3 n plus 6. So sometimes for some of us it's difficult to see an equation written in this form. So using the transitive property, we can go ahead and rewrite that as 6 plus 2/3 n equals negative 12. And sometimes that's a little bit more helpful in order for us to solve it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this by subtracting 6 from both sides. Whatever we do to one side of an equation, we want to do to the other. So I have 2/3 n, because the 6's cancel there, equals negative 18. Now, some of us want to turn that 2/3 into decimal form. In this case, we don't really want to do that because it's much easier dealing with the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. We're using the multiplicative inverse property to solve. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3/2. By 3/2. So 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, so we just end up with 1 n. That's why I'm just going to rewrite it as n. Now, I can rewrite this negative 18 as negative 18 over 1, and now I'm multiplying negative 18 over 1 times 3/2. Now, if we remember the rules for cross-canceling before we multiply, 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into negative 18 negative 9 times. So I can end up with negative 27 over 1, which in turn relates to n equaling negative 27. For 24 minus 5p equals negative 1. 24 minus 5p equals negative 1. I'm going to go ahead, and this is a positive 24. Sometimes students have a hard time realizing that that's a positive 24. So what I want to do is I want to subtract 24 from both sides. Sometimes we see that minus 5p and we want to attach that negative to the 24. So let's go ahead and cancel these 24s out. That's the inverse property of addition. And I have negative 1 minus 24. So I have negative 5p equaling negative 25. I can divide both sides by negative 5. And p will equal just plain old 5. Finally, we have r minus 8 divided by 6, and I'm going to go ahead and clear this out just so we have some space. I write a little bit larger because I'm dealing with the notes here. And I have r minus 8 divided by negative 6 equals 7. What I want to do with this is the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of that divided by negative 6. In order to do that, I'm going to multiply this side by negative 6, because remember, that's like saying 6 over 1. So these guys can cancel each other out. And whatever I do to one side, I've got to do to the other side. So I'm multiplying both sides by negative 6. So again, these 6's cancel out, so I'm left with r minus 8 equals, and it's going to be negative 42. 7 times negative 6 is 42. Or negative 42, excuse me. So I go ahead and I want to add 8 to both sides. The inverse property of addition says I can do that, and I have R, and that's going to equal 34. Negative 34. Okay, moving on. Now what we want to do is we want to apply our knowledge of solving these equations, and we want to apply it to actual problem solving. So we're talking about volcanoes. Moving lava can build up and form beaches at the coast of an island. The important parts I see of this, I'm not going to read the whole problem to you because I know you're capable of reading. We have 8y plus 2 centimeters, where y represents the number of years. And then also 60 centimeters. Next it says, how long has the lava flowed? Now, we need to make sure we understand, does long mean in centimeters or does it mean in years? And long in this case means in terms of years. So we know all the information we need. We have 8y plus 2 equals 60. 8y plus 2 equals 60. So we'll just go ahead and solve this two-step equation by taking 2 away from both sides. 8y equals 58. And then we would go ahead and divide 58 in both sides by 8. And 58 divided by 8 is going to be 7.25. So y equals 7.25 years. And if we wanted to get technical, we could say 7 years and 3 months. Okay, finally this last one. I looked at it, and we might want to discuss this a little bit during class. When I looked at it, there was a whole lot of information on this problem, and some of it seemed to get a little bit confusing. This is how I interpreted it. Okay, supplementary angles are angles who have a sum of 180. Okay, we should know that. And complementary are angles who have a sum of 90. Okay, so we want to find the measure of an angle whose supplement is 10 degrees more than twice its complement. Whose supplement is 10 degrees more than twice its complement. So let 90 minus x equal the complement, and 180 minus x equal the degree of its supplement. So there's a lot of information here, but the important part that it's telling me to do is find the measure of an angle whose supplement is 10 degrees more than twice its complement. That's what I need to do. So in order to find the measure of an angle whose supplement, okay, so the supplement is 10 degrees more than twice its complement. This is the way I interpreted it. And we know that supplementary angles, because we want to find the measure of an angle whose supplement is 10 degrees more than. So we would go ahead and say equals 180. This is the way I interpreted this problem. Again, we can go ahead and discuss this during class. So now I just want to distribute 10 plus 2 times 90 is 180 minus x is going to equal 180. 10 plus 180 is 190 minus x equals 180. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 190 from both sides. When I do that, I have negative x equaling negative 10. And because I can't have a negative variable, I get x equals 10. If you have another method of solving that, please bring it to class on Tuesday. Thank you.